Hi friends, today we are finally diving in because she has arrived, the newly released Byredo Mineralscapes Hi eyeshadow palettes. If this is your first time here, I have reviewed all of Byredo's eyeshadow palettes ever since I think Prism released 3 years ago, followed by Flora Kalahari, the Remembrance, which released last year around this time, and now we have Mineralscapes. One of those things where I gladly will purchase an eyeshadow palette from Byredo because they just seem more special. The releases are spaced out, at most 2 palettes a year. At most. I purchased Mineralscapes from the Byredo website. It retails for $115. I don't know if it's still available. It sold out, then it was back in stock, it sold out again. I'm not entirely sure what the status is on this palette. It did release on Liberty London briefly for like $135. I'm like, I'll wait. I would have paid the extra $20. But I think it might still be available at Selfridges. But do you want to look inside? Untouched and new. The moment I saw Mineralscapes, immediately drawn to this cooler eyeshadow color story. It is magnificently beautiful, desaturated, but still rich. You know what I mean? It reminds me, here, let me get it. It reminded me of ABH's Art Nouveau. If I place them side by side, Byredo takes it even cooler, but you see the similarities here between the sages, the lavender, and again, just those softer tones that I attribute to, yes, the Art Nouveau artwork, but also like those carpets with the intricate designs and landscape whatevers. That's what Mineralscapes is giving. And basically that is the concept behind this color story. Landscape, I think specifically Swedish landscape, Swedish or Swiss, one of those countries. And represented here with the various mineral stones on the compact. I think one of my most favorite designs yet from Byredo. This is absolutely beautiful, and I think just well represented here with the colors. My goodness, I can't get enough. I know you would like to see the swatches, so let's get to it. I think I'll swatch on this arm because I don't have the watch and the watch leaves a weird mark and blah, 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 blah. Going across the rows here, first we have Grounding Sky. Oh my goodness. We're off to a great start. Painting Land, Sandstone, Rock Bed, Mineral, Steel Light, Sunbeam, Solar Spark, Pink Flame, our first matte, Sun Dried, right up my alley. It's kind of giving Prada Soft Matte Caramel vibes, but in eyeshadow form. Low Tide, Steel Ray, Lunar Rhythm, River Mist, Matter and Life, Blue Dream, Second Matte, High Tide, and lastly, Translucent Matter. I ran out of space there. Here, let's apply this on my other. Translucent Matter is pretty. My goodness, soft taupey pink kind of giving vibes. And if you were wondering, Mineralscapes was under the direction of Lucia Pica, who was also responsible for Remembrance, my beloved palette that unfortunately did not claim the top spot for best eyeshadow palette of 2023. Isamea's palette claimed that spot, which is funny because Isamea was responsible for the 2 palettes previously released, Flora Kalahari and Prism, who now has her own makeup brand. Lucia takes on, from what I've seen in these eyeshadow palettes, definitely takes on more of a minimalist approach, very nuanced and simple, and you see Isamea kind of push the boundaries a little bit in terms of color. I mean, if you see Prism, my goodness, this is like a circus house. And then Flora Kalahari is more earthy overall compared to Mineralscapes. Mineralscapes definitely is funny. It's earthy, but more desaturated. You know what I mean? You're not going to get the same richness from Mineralscapes. But I would argue a lot of these midnight blues gave, I mean, look at this. This is kind of like a Natasha Denona Metropolis moment where few of the turquoise and teal shades look similar on the swatch. I think this has like a little more cerulean and this has a little more teal turquoise. And unlike Remembrance, Remembrance has 7 mattes. Mineralscapes only has 2 with a mixture of more pearlized finish metallics and more satin finishes. Definitely more satin, metallic, pearl, extra high shine metallic. The extra high shine shade here is definitely, I think this is Bedrock. My memory, no. Yes, Rock Bed. I had to switch the words. A few more details about the palette. 12-month suggested shelf life, 30 grams of product, and of course it's made in Italy. Now that we have swatches out the way, product details out the way, let's get into these demos and slap these shadows on. Let's come in a little closer. That's enough. Apply the makeup, and those products will be listed down below. I will show what I applied on the cheeks. I wanted to go with NARS Infatuated because I feel the plumberry aligns with what's going on in Mineralscapes. I'm gonna toss that on and apply a little bit of caramel that I had to put in a pot. It's okay. It's okay. It's not the neatest, but it works. Priming with Linda's Till the End primer. I've been liking it. The eyelids haven't been super discolored, but I understand if you prefer a primer that has more pigment. I was thinking about picking up a MAC Paint Pot, but I really don't need it. This is fine. Ooh, what should we start with? I know you probably want to see sun-dried in action, but I want to get into these metallics and start just combining things. We're going all Sonia today for this one. Ooh, we got the blue, we got the greens. I don't know what to do. I want to apply everything at the same time. I'm actually intrigued by this color. It was after sun-dried. This, like a toned down lavender jumbo blender, low tide on the entire. Ooh, if you haven't tried Byredo shadows before, they are insanely soft. The pickup is just crazy. You could actually pick up too much and end up with fallout if you're not careful, because there will be a kickback in the pan. Therefore, be mindful with how much you take with your brush, because you don't need much. Look at that. Incredible. The eyes are done. Thank you so much for coming. I'll take my crease L without any additional product and work the edges of that shadow, and they beautifully diffuse on their own. They don't need a matte. Oh, sorry, knocking over the mic. If you wanted to use a matte, I can imagine you can apply sun-dried or this one here, High Tide. But I think, ooh, maybe we can apply this shade on the outer corner, because that is giving a little more blue, right? That could be a nice gradient moment. And in that case, I'll choose a smaller brush. This is the Builder Pro. It is a packer brush, but with a slight point at the end, which allows for better precision here. Layering it over High Tide. And I'm tapping in order to maintain a little bit of control, as I don't want it to travel far beyond my lash line. I kind of want to keep it where High Tide is laid, you know what I mean? But it's kind of already happening, it's fine. Let's take our crease L again and soften the edges. These metallics are wonderful. They're soft, they're easy to blend. I mean, I can't stand it. I will apply Steel Ray with my Builder Pro along the lower lash line. I think that is a great place, and actually will reserve the inner corner for another color, right? Why not? Now we could go one of two ways. We could go in with this color, mineral, the one next to it. We could go a little more yellow. That is Steel Light. That has more of like a yellow antique gold to it, or a little more beigey peach. This one I think will be a little too dark for the inner corner, so let's go in with Mineral. I think that'll be lovely for an inner corner moment. Grabbing Builder S with Mineral and tapping that on the inner part of my eye. Yes. And overlapping Mineral over High Tide. And we can now place another shade here. You know what? I want to go in with Grounding Sky. Grounding Sky, I feel, will look beautiful with what's going on here, you know what I mean? Grounding Sky is giving me Natasha Denona Triochrome vibes. This cloudy gray blue is exactly what exists in that palette and is just represented here by Grounding Sky. And why I fell in love with Mini Triochrome, because the specific tone of blue in that palette just slaps. Now let's go with the green, and ooh, I think I would like to pair sun dried with these two shades here, specifically Painting Land and Sandstone, because wouldn't it be interesting? And another reason why I liked Art Nouveau so much, when I combine Fleur or Metro with Hope or Belle or even Wings, I absolutely love the look. So we could do that now, and maybe if you already have Art Nouveau and this is not in your budget, you could probably create some similar looks, you know what I mean? Jumbo blender again, but I think I'll just do Sandstone first. First on the outer part of my V, in with the jumbo blender. This particular formula is a little tighter than this shade here, High Tide, I believe. It's a little tighter. You might need a bit more maneuvering and a slightly denser brush like the one I'm using here to move it around. It's not going to have the same slide as other metallics here. And I'm tapping and sweeping in order to maintain control over the placement, in order for it to not travel too far beyond the lash line. And I think the tap and sweep is one of the best ways to blend these shadows. Not bad. We're looking good. Builder Pro again, but now with Painting Sky, which takes on more of a, it's like a sage. It's just lovely. And all over the lid without even applying Sandstone. Oh, but it's so springy and fresh. I just think pond, spring. Oh, what a lovely color. Now this texture, a lot softer than Sandstone. You saw how it just kind of slapped on effortlessly. Okay, but what I wanted to show is how will these greens pair with the clay tone, sun dried. This is a matte shade, and Byredo mattes are softity soft. I mean, they're like fabric on your eyeballs. And not too bad. I probably could have kept Sandstone a little lower, just so that there is a more prominent gradient, because there's not much room between where Sandstone ends and my eyebrows begin, the base of the brows. But sun dried is giving nice blend here. You see how it moves from the green to the clay shade? That's not bad. That's pretty. Oh my goodness. For the inner corner, however, I think I want to try this shade here, Steel Light. And that was after Mineral, wrong arm. This one here, yeah, Steel Light is pretty. Again with my Builder S. Now on this inner corner, oh yes, that just, this was a good choice. And I'll also carry it underneath a little bit on the inner quarter of my under eye here. And for the lower lash line, I'll keep it simple. I'll take Sandstone, the same shade we started with on the outer lid for this look, and take it across the lash line here softly, right? Because I want to keep it pretty tight to the lash line, but I don't mind for some diffusing to happen, right? I don't mind that haze. And I do, I want to see how High Tide looks with Low Tide because I'm impressed with sun dried. Just to kind of finish the edges here, the edges. Yes, I didn't take a ton of product, right? Okay, I took it too high. We took it too high. Let's just gently tap that away. And I'll carry some of that on the lower lash line. Ooh, all right. Let's apply some lashes and I'll be right back. First looks are complete, and what I immediately noticed during the demo and taking the shots here, smoky without the intensity, a softer delivery of color, and shades that are just easier to approach and manage, not just from the textures, because again, if this isn't your first Byredo palette, you are familiar with their formula and how incredibly easy it is to use, but the tones themselves, just a little more desaturated, a little more, I don't want to say grayscale. And when I say desaturated, because typing it in synonyms, bleached, faded, washy, colorless, these are not colorless, 100%. But if you wanted to compare these tones to what's offered in Flora Kalahari, I could understand why you would say desaturated and not as much color. But my goodness, the fact that I'm comfortable leaving the house like this, all right, I don't mind having the lavender tones and the green tones, and if you were one to always apply the neutral browns and the beiges and the peaches, or maybe just have a larger affinity towards the peaches and rosy browns that exist in Remembrance, and you can't get down with these shades. I feel like you can. Individuals who are not into these shades are now into these shades because of how it's delivered with the formula, with the types of colors. Oh, we got to do more. We have to do more because I think it's time for us to explore like the pink shades, right? If you wanted to get down with that. And also the midnight blues, because I'm sure you're wondering, how can you achieve depth? I don't think this is a palette to achieve depth with. This is one to fully embrace the shades as they are, use them as one and done, and then maybe use the other shades as accents. Maybe if you wanted more intensity, you probably have to go in with the pencil to sketch out that first layer and then apply one of these shades on top. But this is really just to choose a color, slap it on and go. All right, because you have the shine, you have the twinkle. Outstanding. So I'll be right back with fresh lids. As promised, let's get into the pinks, and I'm sure you will like to see Sun Dried in action all by herself, pulling that through the crease. And yes, it is a soft shade, but it's one of my most favorite types of shades. I can easily wear this solo. And if you're like, well, Alicia, what if I wanted to do a wing liner, or maybe just add a little bit of smoke with shadow? How could I possibly do that with these shades? Just choose another color. Maybe you choose the midnight or the more teal blue, which is more distinguishable as you see them here from this angle. May not be as distinguishable on the swatch, but I could see there's a slight difference. You know, if you want to just use sun dried, then go in with black coffee or one of your favorite dark brown liners to establish a more neutral look. Or if you have Danessa's Defining Neutrals from her Groundwork palette series, and throw on one of them velvet pomades or the Shape and Fix powders with this color. You know what I mean? But if you already have Blooming Romance, then I feel like this exists somewhere in Blooming Romance. Maybe from Dreamy? I can't recall the exact shade, but somewhere on that top row. It might appear a little more rosy than Sun Dried, however, just based off memory. I need to go in with this shade. But this shade is actually pretty cool. Let me get the names here. Solar Spark and Pink Flame. Solar Spark has like silver blue pearl in there, and Pink Flame is just more of your rose gold metallic. I want to go in with this. I feel like this is pretty. Just all over the lid. Definitely takes on more of a topper moment. Oh, that's pretty. It reminds me of the numerous Viseart metallic topper shades that exist in the series that have the same exact feel. Now, this is going to feel a lot more drier, I think, because of the types of pigments used for the shade are a little more reflective, and that's why it appears shinier on the lid. But you know what I want to do? I want to slap on one of these blue shades as a wing liner, because I think it's fun to rely on a different shade other than black and brown to be used as a shadow wing. And I want to use, of course, it's all the way over there, my Traditions brush. Which do I want to use? No, I'm gonna get my Kakeshibu. Hold on, Kakeshibu with Lunar Rhythm. So I think that'll be quite pretty. Now this is what this color is giving. Is a little thicker, but let's sachet this color along the lash line. I think this is a good idea. You could stamp first to draft out the shape. I like to look or position the mirror down to better see the inner part of my lash line, and just lightly stamp the brush along the edge, and that I feel makes for a more even application. And now to get this angle, because I always miss the mark here. Not too bad, although I feel I have to clean this up a little bit because of course I got out of hand. Gonna carve out here. All right, that's a little better. Not bad. Although it's pink on the top, the blue works. I like what's happening. And for the inner corner, I'm looking at, I believe this is called Sunbeam. Sunbeam, I think will be lovely as the highlight shade, yes. And why not? Let's tap a little bit here on the brow bone. Yes, yes. Do I want to apply anything on the lower lash line? You know what? We can go with Pink Flame. Why not? Let's go with a metallic shade here on the lower lash line. You can leave it bare, and I'll swoosh it just so it kind of fades under that blue wing. Now for eye number 2, I want to go in with this shade. This River Mist. Did I swatch River Mist? Or did I don't even remember saying that during the swatches. Oh boy. Well, let's go in with River Mist because the saginess is calling my name. Looking for my jumbo blender. Here we are. Let's give that a quick wipe and going in with River Mist, and I will simply just tap. Now a much lighter shade than Sandstone and Painting Land, right? It almost looks gray. It doesn't have that same color richness, and I might have to go in with concealer next time because this is what happens when I do multiple looks on my eyes. My lids tend to get a little dry, and the Linda primer doesn't provide enough adherence for the shadows after round 1, right? And in that case, I have to go in with the finger just to build it up. So it's not the shadow, it's just my eye skin being finicky. But once I get the majority of the shadow on, I love how that looks. But what to pair it with, however, oh, you know what we can do? Grounding Sky as like the dominant inner corner shade, but not for highlight, more of like just a different, yes. And then Mineral here on the edges to lighten it up, give it some brightness, but still honoring that gradation we created. River Mist on the lower lash line here. Demo number 2 done. Let's slap on these lashes. Round 2 complete, and we experimented with the more midnight blue as a liner moment juxtaposed against the lighter pink clay shades, and dealt with the sage, like that sagey gray on our second eye with the icy blue on the inner corner. My goodness, these are a lot of fun. I'm having a blast with this palette, and I knew the moment I saw Mineralscapes on Instagram, when I saw these shades, they just speak to me. They speak to me. I know they're cooler toned. Something about the curation, I don't know. I'm at loss for words. But we are getting into our last demo, and hopefully, you know, we're going to get into the heavier blues, I think, so we can maximize the smoke potential from Mineralscapes and maybe deal with a lavender look, perhaps dealing with these shades here, because we haven't tapped into that shade. Did we? I don't remember. And we're going to get into it. So I'll be back with Clean Liz once again. We're taking the teal because, listen, I want to see, oh boy. I am carefully building up this color. And by the way, I did apply Natasha's concealer on my lid because I needed a little more grab from that product because my eyes are getting a little dry with the applying and reapplying. And without product, gently blending the edges. I'm being conservative with how much color I'm starting with initially because I don't want to have to blend away or erase, but I can add. And with little product here, and this is with my Sonia G Kiyaki T4, which has a flat top, and I think ideal for this task. Just wanna, you know, there we go. And I'm taking color with the top of the brush, the tip I should say, and building it more on the lid, and then following up with the edges here. Okay, let's see how high tide. Yes, just a little bit here on the edges. Oh, that's pretty. You know, just to add another color, another cleanup. Because again, this is rather tight. So this texture is not going to have that same diffused finish as like, let's say, this one here, Low Tide, Painting Land, River Mist, right? Or even this shade here. The tighter metallics that you can easily identify just by feel will, I think, need these softer mattes to just help with the finesse a little bit. Now, what should we do for the lid? Grounding Sky, yes, is an obvious choice, but I think we can do something else. Like, we could definitely do the green. River Mist would be pretty with what's going on here. We gotta go in Rock Bang, 100%, because this is shiny. That is a shiny shade. This has a lot of texture, you see? But I think understandable given how metallic the finish is with this shade. And I'm carefully tapping, overlapping the blue. Oh yeah. Now I feel like I could add something here. There's a moment living in that tiny arc, you know what I'm saying? But what color can we do? I'm feeling this one here, Translucent Matter, just to soften this arc. You might not see much, but I do think it adds to the overall feel of things. Matter in Life. Did I use Matter in Life? Yes. With a smaller brush on the outer, let's do 3/4. And I want to add a little more to the outer V. Now that we've blended it, I'm just intensifying the color here. And I'm being careful because I am starting to tear a little bit on my outer corner. Happens with the multi-look videos, it's okay. But just being careful with my placement there. All right. Woo! Inner corner time. You know, Sunbeam. Let's do Sunbeam. Why not? It's like a nice departure, yes, from what's going on. And I'm carrying it to the inner corner as well, or lower inner portion. Yes. Kicking away a little bit of fallout, again, to be expected from the tighter metallic shades. Last Eye. What was I saying gonna do? The like more lavender. We can do that. You know what? Let's do Steel Ray all over the lid because I applied Steel Ray on the outer V of the first look. So I think it will be interesting to see what that is giving all by itself. I'm gonna wiggle back and forth and pat out that crease and then start to tap on the entire lid. I'll keep it pretty low because I don't know what... sun-dried maybe. I think sun-dried will be a nice choice to blend out the edges with, right? Because you could go in with High Tide naturally since it's in the same color wheelhouse, but just to experiment and see. And I'll take a smaller crease brush here with sun-dried and to help refine the edges of Steel Ray. Yes, yes, yes. Just whip it around, whip it around. Oh, my poor eyes, because my allergies are not doing great either, so they're extra sensitive today. My apologies, family. I hope it doesn't distort the looks too bad. And just applying a little more here on the outer V to just beef up the color there. Inner corner. Ooh, I think, yes, River Mist. River Mist. That's right. I like what's happening. And I'll take River Mist here on the lower inner part. Some mineral on top of River Mist. Yes, I think we did that on our last round, yeah? And Steel Ray on the lower lash line. Why not? Let's just keep this simple. And we can add, you know what? I want to try this color here. I forgot what it's called. Solar Spark tapped over. Oh yes, that's giving a little more of a silvery finish. You don't even see the pink at all. That just kind of pulled that shine forward Yes! All right, last round complete. Let's slap on the lashes and I'll be right back. What can I say? This palette is absolutely gorgeous. Do you need it? Absolutely not. Especially if you already have these shades. Maybe you're not even into cool shades and these tones in general, and that will be an easy pass for you. For myself, as a Byredo eyeshadow palette enthusiast who has been collecting them ever since they launched their first palette 3-4 years ago, I am just over the moon for Mineralscapes. It is everything I thought it would be. The photos don't do it justice. When you see this in person, if you decide to purchase it, it is absolutely breathtaking, and everything about the concept behind the color story, how it was curated, the shades included, it's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Well done, Lucia and Ben. Thank you so much. Yes, my apologies. I wanted to do a few comparisons. This video is probably already 45 minutes long because I remember one of the comments was saying, I've seen that green someplace. Yes, this green from Flora Kalahari is giving more khaki, okay? Versus the greens here, this first one here, that's like more sagey, that's more forest green. Even River Mist. Did I even swatch River Mist? My goodness, here's River Mist from Mineralscapes. Is an entirely different shade. And the Midnight, or more turquoise shade from Flora Kalahari, this has a little more sparkle to it, right? Actually, that's more like a blackened, whereas the teals here are giving more blue. And also the mattes are like more reddish tone. That's a little more taupey in comparison to like this color here, like that pink. This pink, the base is the same, but the one from Mineralscapes, instead of the reflex being gold, as you see from Flora Kalahari, you see it's more blue silver. And from Remembrance, I was thinking about the lavender shade, but when I saw this in person, the lavenders looked a little more gray tone. So this is from Remembrance, that lavender shade that I just showed, as opposed to these shades here. Not quite. This looks more lavender and is softer versus this shade here from Mineralscapes. It has more of like a cloudy blue tint to it, and it's giving a lot more. There is one shade, well, this High Shine Metallic shade from Remembrance, that's like straight up silver. Actually, the first shade in Remembrance is a straight up silver shade, all right? Versus Rock Bed from Mineralscapes. Whoa, you know what I'm saying? And the clay tones, okay, so we have that clay tone here from Mineralscapes, as opposed to, let me do this on my hand. So I will first swatch Sun Dried from Mineralscapes, okay? And then I'll go with these two pinks here. The first one from Remembrance, that's giving a little more pink. That's almost like my actual hand shade. And the bottom one is more rosy. And the shade over here, that's gonna show up a little more rose brown. See what I'm saying? This is Sun Dried. You see how cooler tone that is overall in comparison to the shades found in Remembrance? At first glance, they do appear similar, but the undertones are completely different. You have more moments in Flora with that correspond to not Pink Spark, but Pink Flame, right? You might be thinking, all right, Pink Flame happens a lot in Flora Kalahari, but this is from Mineralscapes. And the one that kind of looks similar is this one here, Bravery. But I think Bravery is going to have more of a copper feel to it, like more of a rose gold. They are similar, however, but Bravery has a little more copper to it. Pink Flame as more pink, as you can see, as well as this shade here from Remembrance. I think this might appear, yeah, this is going to appear like a little more gold. This has a little more like taupe in it versus Pink Flame. Pink Flame, you can see, sorry for my calluses, all the pull-ups. Pink Flame has a little more pink, but they are similar. Definitely are similar. The only thing is the rest of the shades in Remembrance are rose, peach, coral tones, coppery, and everything else in Mineralscapes, sage, cloudy blue, silvery, lavender, grayish tones is an entirely different spectacle of sorts, right? And again, this video is really just to share my enthusiasm. And if you do have Mineralscapes and you're not into eyeshadow like that, but when you saw this palette, you're like, oh my goodness, it has to be mine. It arrived and you're like, well, what do I do now? Hopefully this video will provide some inspiration for you in order for you to feel more comfortable using Mineralscapes. And if you saw this video and now you want it, I'm so sorry. Is it a must-have? Absolutely not, especially if you don't wear eyeshadow often, if these aren't your shades. If you just want it because it's beautiful, is not enough, right? We know that's not enough. We still buy makeup just based on that feel anyway, like I did. I get it. I'm not a great example at the moment. But Byredo eyeshadow palettes are a must-have for me. I signed the contract. There is no contract. It's a pretend one I made up in my head. And every palette they release, I appreciate the thoughtfulness behind it. They take their time with the concept and the color choices made. That's what I appreciate. The fact that I'm not seeing a palette released by Byredo every week, that there is time between the palettes, and that in itself generates excitement. Like, ooh, I wonder what they're gonna come up next. And when they do release, it is like, ooh, my goodness, it's just exciting. So let me know, friends, down below if you have Mineralscapes, what you think about it, if you've been using it, other ideas I would love to know about down below. I will see you in those comments. And until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial, Mineralscapes extravaganza, or a video just showcasing the new makeup I purchased and sharing looks. Maybe that's coming up next. Take care, and I will see you again soon.